Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now, your afternoon update. I'm Stephanie Haney. It's Tuesday, May 19th. We have your top headlines for you from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. We have just got the latest numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health related to COVID-19 and how it's impacting the state of Ohio. So we'll break those numbers for you down, as well as the numbers across the country and across the globe, so we can get an idea of how COVID-19 is growing or not growing across the world. For the new numbers that are just in today from the Ohio Department of Health, new cases are down, but new deaths are nearly double the number of new reported deaths in the last 24 hours, up from yesterday. So we'll go ahead and break those numbers down for you right now. Today we have seen 498 new reported cases of COVID-19. This is based on the expanded CDC definition of positive confirmed cases, but also probable cases of COVID-19. That's down from yesterday when we saw 531 new cases. So that brings the total number of COVID-19 reported cases in the state of Ohio, dating all the way back to March 9th, to now 28,952. So right on the verge of 29,000 reported cases total here in the state of Ohio. And many of those people have already recovered, but that is the total number of reported cases. For the total number of reported deaths, we are now at 1,720 total reported deaths related to COVID-19 in the state of Ohio, again, dating all the way back to March 9th when we first became aware that COVID-19 was present here in the state of Ohio. And keep in mind, Dr. Amy Acton has said that antibody testing shows that COVID-19 was likely here as early as January. So that marks 63 new deaths reported in the last 24 hours. Now, also keep in mind these numbers that are reported each day, there is a little bit of a lag in them, so there might be a couple of a day lag in the reporting of that, but this is a significant increase from yesterday when we saw 32 new deaths reported, again bringing that total to 1,720 reported COVID-19 deaths here in the state of Ohio. The total number of hospitalizations related to COVID-19, the total number dating all the way back to March 9th, has now broken through 5,000. There have been 5,117 people in total hospitalized of those reported cases that we're aware of. So you're looking at about 1/6 of the reported cases resulting in a hospitalization. The number of new hospitalizations reported from yesterday is also up. We saw 119 new hospitalizations reported today. We saw 77 new hospitalizations reported on Monday. And the total number of people who are hospitalized currently at this time is 913. So that number has been fluctuating just a little bit with people being discharged, people being admitted. It's been staying pretty steady. There are 930 people currently hospitalized related to COVID-19 in the state of Ohio. Yesterday, there were 912, and the day before that on Sunday, there were 914. In terms of ICU admissions related to COVID-19, the total is now 1,357. That number of new ICU admissions has actually dropped down a little bit from yesterday, with 29 new ICU admissions reported today, making there a total of 365 people who are currently in the ICU related to COVID-19. So again, as people are discharged, as new people are admitted, there are now 365 people who are currently in the ICU. So that's about 1/3 of the people who are hospitalized. So to put all those numbers into context for you, there are about 29,000 total reported cases of COVID-19 now in the state of Ohio. Of those 29,000, we have about 5,100 hospitalizations. So we're looking about 1/6 of people who have been reported to have COVID-19 have been hospitalized for treatment. And of those people who have been hospitalized for treatment, about 1/3 of those right now are in the ICU. So that's how those numbers break down. Now, if we're going to look at the numbers across the U.S., new cases are down, but new deaths are up from what we looked at over the weekend. Today, we saw 19,441 new cases reported. These numbers that I'm about to give you now from the U.S. and the global numbers are all from Johns Hopkins University. So 19,441 new cases reported across the U.S., bringing the total number of cases in the U.S. to 1,511,000. The total number of deaths is up significantly from what we saw over the weekend. The total number of new deaths reported today in the U.S. is 4,204, making the total deaths now in the U.S. more than 90,000. The total number is now 90,432. So we have broached that 90,000 death mark in the U.S., according to information today. Now, these numbers were updated this morning at 10:45 a.m. from Johns Hopkins University. Usually they update them in the afternoon, but for some reason today the Johns Hopkins numbers were not updated this afternoon, so those are the most up-to-date numbers we have at this time. Now, over the weekend, from Friday to Monday, we saw 3,438 new deaths. So when you look at the 24-hour period from yesterday to today, seeing the new deaths reported of 4,204, that is a significant increase. Worldwide, however, there are much few newer cases and deaths worldwide reported today than over the weekend. We saw 77,392 new cases of COVID-19 reported today, bringing the total number of cases worldwide to now 4,836,000. Over the weekend, we saw 258,461 new cases. That was from Friday to Monday. The new deaths reported worldwide today is now 2,936, bringing the total number of deaths worldwide reported that we know of from COVID-19 to 319,213. That's 319,213 people worldwide who have lost their lives related to COVID-19 coronavirus. Comparing that to the weekend numbers, over the weekend we saw 11,434 new deaths. So today, in the last 24 hours, there being 2,936 deaths is a significant decrease in the number of new deaths compared to the weekend to the last 24 hours. If you are someone who has not yet received your stimulus payment from the federal government under the U.S. CARES Act, it's possible that might be coming to you on a debit card. So the U.S. Treasury and the IRS began sending out the cards to nearly 4 million Americans this week. Your payment, it's called your Economic Impact Payment, or your EIP. If you get it on a card, you can use that for purchases, to withdraw cash from in-network ATMs, and transfer funds to your bank account without fees. The debit cards will be sent to taxpayers if your tax returns were processed by the IRS service centers that are located in Andover or in Austin. So that's how it will determine whether you're going to get a debit card. Now, these are for the people who are still waiting on the payments who didn't get the direct deposit. And these debit cards can also be used online or at ATMs or wherever Visa is accepted. Now, the government says that more than 140 million economic impact payments totaling $239 billion have already been sent to taxpayers. And if you are someone who is waiting on the paper check, that will be coming soon as well. That's if they didn't have your bank information on file. Now, I have to wonder, I know when I get a sort of card in the mail, I wonder if there's some strategy behind this as well, if they're trying to pump some more money into the economy, because I know it's a lot easier for me to use what feels like a gift card when I get it, other than hanging on to that money. So we'll have to see if that has any impact on how this funding is actually spent by the people who get the debit cards, or what the reasoning is behind that choice. This is some bummer news for the city of Canton, which is my hometown. The city of Canton has decided to cancel the July 4th fireworks display. This is due to COVID-19 coronavirus. So the city officials said today that the decision was made out of health concerns for the residents of Canton and is consistent with public health concerns over holding large attendance events. It's also possible that the city budget may have been a factor, because city budgets have been impacted as revenue is down because of COVID-19 coronavirus cancellations. Mayor Bernable said that the city does hope that everyone will be able to gather next year for the 4th of July celebration to celebrate Independence Day in 2021. This hits close to home for me, of course. 4th of July is my favorite holiday. I know there are lots of more serious things happening, but some of my favorite memories growing up, and some of my favorite memories in recent years, have been watching the fireworks from the McKinley Monument with my family, even if we're not at the monument, watching it from a distance and seeing those go up. So real bummer there that those opportunities will be missed this year. But of course, it is for the safety and the health of everyone involved, so we just have to hope for better next year. The city of Akron already canceled its display. They announced that last month. They won't be having their large display at Lock 3, But the city of Akron is hoping to have several smaller displays around the city, and Ashland has announced that they will still be holding their fireworks. So for the people of Canton, you will be able to travel around and hopefully see some fireworks from the safe location of your car, from a safe physical distance from people in some other places that are pretty close by. The Cleveland Browns have now announced their 2020 preseason schedule, and tickets are for sale, which of course is very interesting as we still don't know when large-scale events with mass gatherings will be allowed to take place. That's phase 3 of Ohio's reopening plan, according to Governor Mike DeWine's outlined guidelines. But here's the information that we have right now. The Browns, who are in the AFC North, will play 3 NFC North teams for the first 3 games, and then 1 NFC South game. So week 1, Saturday, August 15th, they are scheduled to play in Chicago against the Bears. Week 2, Saturday, August 22nd, they're scheduled to play in Green Bay against the Packers. Week 3, Sunday, August 30th, they're scheduled to be here in Cleveland playing the Minnesota Vikings. And then week 4, Thursday, September 3rd, they are scheduled to play here in Cleveland against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then the official season right now is scheduled to begin for the Browns on September 13th, and that's away against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, refund policies has been something that lots of people have been talking about. You know, there was lots of issues with the Major League Baseball games, with people wanting to get refunds for their Cleveland Indians games that hadn't been played yet, but there is all this conversation about whether they're treated as canceled events or postponed events or to be played later events. So the NFL has tried to get ahead of it a little bit, and they do have a refund policy, a baseline refund policy for all of the teams in place. And here's how that looks. If a game is canceled, or if it's played in a way that fans can't attend, if you buy your tickets directly from the team, you will have the option of receiving a full refund or applying that money toward a future ticket purchase from the team. They also tried to handle the issue of resellers with Ticketmaster and SeatGeek and StubHub and those kinds of things. And they have gotten pledges from Ticketmaster and SeatGeek that they will make full refunds available for all ticket sales within no more than 30 days of a cancellation. So yes, we're using that same language here of a cancellation. So what that means is postponements may not apply there, but if a game is straight up canceled, you will be able to get a refund from those secondary resellers. StubHub, however, will only abide by that in places where that is required by state law. Here's a fun fact to end on. LeBron James was actually offered an NFL contract from the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this comes up because it was last week that we were talking about the LA Clippers head coach Doc Rivers, who said that LeBron James is the most amazing athlete they've ever seen in the NBA league, but also that he thought it extended to football. And he said that if James had played professional football, that he would have probably been the greatest football player ever to play. Well, it turns out that LeBron might have had the opportunity to do that. So he did play football when he was in high school at St. Vincent St. Mary right here in Northeast Ohio, and he earned all-state honors doing that as a wide receiver, but he sat out his senior year because of a wrist injury. But he almost went back to the NFL in 2011 during the NBA lockout. He said that he didn't know how long the lockout was going to last, so him and his trainer, Mike Mancias, they started actually training to potentially return to professional football. That was around October and November of that year. He said they started clocking times with 40-yard sprints. They started adding more weight to his bench presses and those kinds of things. And LeBron's business partner and friend Maverick Carter said in the Uninterrupted After Party show that he knows that James got a contract from the Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, and that contract is actually framed in LeBron James's office. So the NBA lockout that year, it started in July of 2011 and it ran through December 8th, 2011. So LeBron never did actually play professional football or accept that offer from the Cowboys. But it would have been a very interesting world today if that had actually happened for LeBron James. So there you go. He actually had that opportunity. So maybe Doc Rivers knew what he was talking about when he said that LeBron James might have been the greatest football player ever. Okay, that is your afternoon update here for 3 News Now for Tuesday, May 19th. Governor Mike DeWine's press conference is underway right now. You can catch that on our Facebook and YouTube pages, also on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. I will see everyone at 5 p.m. on What's New. You can watch that on Channel 3, also on our website, also on our WKYC app and our YouTube page. And then we'll have continuing coverage for you on everything you need to know in What Matters Most at 6 p.m. Front Row at 7 p.m. and What's Next at 11 p.m. And I will be back here with you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Everybody have a great rest of your afternoon. I'll see you at 5 o'clock on What's New. I'm Stephanie Haney.